Due to mature subject matter, viewer discretion is advised. Bye. That was goodbye to two medications. Woohoo! We have one left. One to go. I think for about another 8 days. Yeah. Well, this is afternoon. Hello, everyone. This is Monday, I think. Every day is the same for me right now. Yes, I am sitting here in my bathrobe. Wow. I am like so against going out in public with your pajamas and things like that. But I did watch, remember Chickens by the Lake? Michelle was talking about a friend of hers named Michelle living in Florida. I don't have access to what her name of her channel is right now. But, you know, mixed with what her message was about taking care of yourself. Even though I shouldn't be out right now, but when you have a family and children, you got to take care of business. You know, you can't put all this wear and tear on one person. But mixed with what Michelle from Florida said, and as a nice reminder, and my friends and family that call me on the phone, see, I have pneumonia and asthma, and it's really, really, really taking a toll on me. And that's why I'm so sorry I don't have a video that's, you know, more lively than this. It's been over a week now, and it's very painful. But the point of Michelle in Florida and the friends and family is that they're really reminding you, or me, and I'm reminding you, if you're not well, to just take care of yourself, you know? That's why I was like, I said, I'll take her. I'm telling my husband, Steve, I'll take my daughter to the dentist, but I'll wait in the car, and I'm not changing. If the car stalls, excuse me, I'll just tell the police officer I have pneumonia, and then maybe, I mean, yeah, you know, whatever. I just feel so horrible. You know, it stinks. I think today it's really hard to talk, just to let you know. Because every exhale is very, very difficult. It won't push all the way out. Because, so say from here to the bottom of the screen is how much you're supposed to exhale. My lungs they go down here. And then I have to breathe again and exhale. And if I go any further, I start coughing. So singing and all that there, I can't do it today, Kelly. Kelly from Life in the Millwife. Life in the Millwife. I always forget. My brain is like oatmeal, man. Let me tell you. I'll put you there. So, my point is while I'm sitting on the couch, I should be laying in the bed, I get it. But I figure, let me lay or sit on the couch, you know, morning, noon, and night, watching Christmas Hallmark movies and nourishing my body while I eat and drink. So, while I'm watching these Hallmark movies, I'm like, wow, look at everybody. They're running and singing, and they are smiling, and they look so healthy. And all I keep thinking about is how I am not doing those things. And how I'm not doing those things. And just watching somebody run on the TV, and they're taking these really deep breaths because they're out of breath. I'm like, wow. That must be awesome, you know, to just breathe without coughing and breathe really deeply. You know, I really feel for people who are, maybe you're really sick and you're forever sick, and this is just how your life will be, and maybe you're dying, you know, whatever the case may be. I feel so separated from when I look at life and people around me enjoying it. And yes, we have memories and we go, oh wow, that would be really nice. But it just feels so separated, you know, you feel so distant from all of that. So I just want you to know that if you are forever sick and you will never get better, or maybe you are dying, that I today and this week, you know, got a little glimpse of what you may be going through by not really being able to participate in the things that everybody else around you is, you know? And on the way here, I was reminded to really enter into when Christ was suffering on the cross. And that's why it's so important. See, a lot of people will say, well, you know, Jesus isn't on the cross anymore. Yeah, that's true. But we are to meditate upon when he was, because we are going to suffer. And if we're always looking at the resurrection while we're suffering, you can't relate. So you can relate to Jesus on the cross when he was suffering. So what I do is, when I can't breathe, I think about when he was on the cross and how he was suffocating. He had to have been, you know? So I try to attach my suffering to his on the cross, if that makes any sense. If you can understand that. So, my friends are so nice to me. Like, if they call me on the phone, my BFF calls and she'll say, okay, we've had our time limit now. You're coughing like crazy, so I'll let you go and I'll call you later. And so, my mother too, you know, and then my mother-in-law, she and her sister are totally praying, you know. So, yeah. So there's really nothing else to talk about right now. There is something, though, that I would like to do for all of my subscribers for Thanksgiving. I'll try to start today. I'm not sure. You know, hey, the little things we do when we're sick mean a lot, right? It's kind of like when the lady gave all that she had and it was like a penny or something. It was really not a lot of money whatsoever, but the little that she did meant a lot. So it's like that. But, you know, I really appreciate your videos if you have any. You know, as I sit and I get tired of watching the Hallmark movies, I'll say, let me see what's going on with Uma's home, Uma's house, Uma's home channel, Chickens by the Lake, Life of a Millwife, the Joneses family, Joneses vlog, I think it's called. So I'm watching all of these, Elizabeth's Adventures. I'm watching all of these in the meantime, you know, and boy, do I miss vlogging and being excited for life. And I know this too will pass, I hope. That's what's scary, right? When you get sick, you're like, oh my gosh, is this gonna like pass? Or because I know I suffer with this every year like this, and it's just so awful. But I have to say, I think this is probably the worst. But yeah, so I didn't go to Mass yesterday on Sunday. My daughter and my husband took my two oldest children, and my youngest one, we sat and watched it on TV. What? Hold on. Wow, my daughter just came out, right? So what happened was she was eating candy, sticky candy, and she has braces. Well, we came here to get that fixed today. They're taking her braces off. Isn't that awesome? So I'm going to go home, and I'll be back in 1 hour. Okay, that's so cool. Yay. So, since I'm going to be waiting, I thought I could stay here and park close to God's house and visit with him just a little while. I have an hour. So, yes, this is a Catholic church, and this is in another town from where I live, but I always brought my children here. And it's the largest house in town because it's God's house. God is everywhere. Yes, that's true. But not in the body, blood, soul, and divinity. Oh no, you will not find that just anywhere. Yep, you'll find God's spirit everywhere, of course. You can't even get away from that. But he truly is on this planet in his body and his blood, his soul, and his divinity. Yes. And the only place you're going to ever see that is right here in the Catholic Church, which is all over the world, even in the ocean, because when the military go out there. So yes, and this is a statue of Our Lady, his mother, who we must honor, right? Because when you go see a king, if you're not going to be respectful to his mother, guess what? You're not coming in. You know, you don't respect or disrespect the queen. Of course not. And she's the queen of heaven and earth. And he gave us her when he says, that, behold your mother. You see? And now we can try to say, oh, well, that doesn't mean anything. Well, first of all, that's why tradition is so important. It's because we have to do what always has been done. All right, let's go visit another church. This is my favorite house around where I live. So pretty. You can see the steeple for God's house. This is God's house, but I'll tell you a little about something about this place. You still make the sign of the cross, but they're actually cut off from the church, and I'll explain in a moment. Road work still. Town had explosions in it, and they're still repairing this. It's forever now. They're working so hard. Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. Wow, a lot of sirens, but we're at our other church now. Wow, there's even workers over there. See that? Oh, it's crazy. But I want to say Jesus, Mary, and Joseph for anyone who needs the help. Oh, wow. Yeah. So this is also God's house. See, they're everywhere. And I know that they're in your town too. So right here, there's a second floor and a first floor, like a basement. And in this area is where the altar is. And did you know, excuse me, all the altars, oh boy, something serious is happening, huh? Wow. Oh my gosh, what's going on? So in every church where the altar is facing, so if you go in here, the altar is facing that way, which is the east, because all of the altars are, everyone, all the people are facing the altar, and the altar is facing the east because we're waiting. So in case Christ comes back in that moment, we will all be facing him. Isn't that nice? So I will say a little prayer for anyone out there, whether you're a subscriber or not. May the Lord be with you and bring you lots of understanding, peace, comfort, and joy. And may your soul be united closer to him. And may you desire to be a saint. And may your family be blessed as well. I felt odd coming over here with all those workers here, but they're gone. And I love to pull up really close to the altar. I'm not gonna go in because I'm in my bathrobe, but yes, I just love being very, very close to God, knowing that his body, blood, soul, and divinity is right there. And I just love him. I love you, God. I love you, God. I love you, God. And this is a little sitting area that you could sit, and over the years I've brought my children here, usually after Sundays, and we come and we say a prayer before our Blessed Mother statue and the infant Jesus, and we've always prayed for my husband, their father. So we can always ask Our Lady to bless anybody in all of our families, all my watchers, all the viewers and subscribers, to, and all of our family members, because you're all family now, that anybody in all of our families that need to be under Our Lady's mantle, that Our Lady will bless them and keep them and watch over them as the Queen and the Mother of heaven and earth. And we love you, Our Lady. We love you. Help us to be as lovely as you. We still have more time. Wow, there are like Simons everywhere. I don't know what's going on. However, and we always bless ourselves in front of a church, right? So whenever you pass by a Catholic church, you bless yourself in honor of His body, blood, soul, and divinity. So let's go find another church. Over the river and through the woods, to another church we go. Hey, I could sing that. Maybe it's doing better. So I figure we have more time before I pick up my daughter. So let's go to other churches, huh? Okay. Here's another church. Yep, they are everywhere. Nice. I have a beautiful story of this place. Very cool story here, if I can get it out all right. Anyway, I would have a Saturday devotion. There's Saturday devotions that you can have where you go to church. If you look up Catholic Saturday devotions on Google, you'll see what I'm talking about. I just can only get the really major points here out. So I was doing a Saturday devotion with another family and my kids. We came here and we're ready to go to Mass. The doors are locked. Can't figure out why. Well, we said, you know what? Let's go upstairs, because that's where the Mass was, downstairs. I said, let's go upstairs. We'll pray the rosary. So we prayed the rosary. We see this priest, and we ask him, do you know why there's no Mass downstairs? He says, oh, no, I'm sorry. I don't come to this parish regularly. And so we started talking, and we tell him we're homeschoolers, because we were very staunch homeschoolers back then. And this was only 2 years ago. And so he said, oh, he knows, he goes, I know a priest that's looking for homeschoolers to use his parish center. And all of a sudden I was like, ding. Now, mind you, we're going to back up a little bit. That winter, I was saying to my husband, you know, I feel like God wants me to do something really big. I have no idea what it is, but I'm ready. I tell you, I can breathe better when I'm near the churches. And so we talked to this priest. It's at this church. And so we're done praying the rosary. We say goodbye to him. You know, we exchanged numbers and everything. And I said, oh, that sounds really great. So, because at that point, if you're a homeschooler, if you're not involved with other families, it can be very isolating. And so I thought, you know what, let me get my kids involved and I'll see what this priest really wants to do. So we get out in the parking lot and we see people walking out of the basement Mass, you know, the basement there. And we said to this lady, excuse me, was there a Mass? And she said, yeah. And I'm talking, we went there like 5 minutes before it started, okay? And the doors would not open. So she said there was a Mass. And I tell you, I really do believe Our Lady closed those doors, because if she did not, I would not have had, I got in touch with that priest he wanted the homeschoolers to use his parish center. Oh, it just feels good if I close my eyes and talk at the same time. Would that be all right? And so we opened up a school, and it was called Our Lady Queen of Heaven Homeschool. And it was once a week, every Monday. Whoever wanted to come, no matter how many children you had, it was only $5 just to give him something. And we had the whole parish center. It was practically new, the place. It was beautiful. And the whole idea behind it was that we would do our own school. So nobody was standing there teaching, right, up in front of the class. We would say our morning prayers together like that. But you would teach your own children. And if your children wanted to sit together, you could do that. Or maybe there was another mother that had a more understanding, or wanted to relieve, you know, you from your children, and she was busy with her other kids, you can go and teach her kids. You know, it was really wonderful. They did demonstrations all the time, whatever they wanted to talk about. We would all sit down very professionally. We had field trips. It was just so beautiful. But then after 1 year, I was bringing the statue that I always took with me of Our Lady that I got for $10, okay? Those things go for hundreds. The last day, I was done with the school. It was over. We had a graduation. I was taking her out of the statue, out of the trunk of the car, and her hands fell off. And I was like, what? So mixed with that whole next few months, I'm going to close my eyes, okay? The next few months, I just started learning about unschooling, and I was like confused because I'm thinking, oh my gosh, what am I going to do about Our Lady Queen of Heaven homeschool? So I just took that as a simple sign saying, you know what, her hands are off now, and so were mine. And that was just, I don't know what it was for, but I do tell you this, because I did not even go to high school, I'm standing before everybody at the graduation, parents and the children. I'm the foundress of this school, and it really did something to me, you know. It put this cap on top of completion, you know. I was signed with approval that my measuring up to the world, you know, like I had done this one thing. How did I not go to high school, but I had a school? How does that make sense? It doesn't. So that's why, you know, it really helped me out anyway. I don't know if it did anybody else, but it was wonderful. So I say, you know, if you ever want something and you are not able, and you think that you're not capable of it, no way, Jose. You are quite capable. If you have a desire like that and it doesn't offend God in any way, then you go. You go. That's what I say. Just go. Go and do it, and don't let anybody stay in your way. Oh, no. No, 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 no. If it doesn't offend God, just go and do it. See, it's the exhale. I'm not going to get you sick, right? I'm trying to block this so you don't. Oh, yeah, so let's go see another church. Why not? Oh, I see Mr. Squirrel. Oh, he's so cute. The doors were right here. We could not open them 5 minutes before the Mass. That's unheard of, okay? What it ended up doing was it gave me a ton of confidence. I'm standing at the podium before all these families, and I'm saying, how am I doing this right now? How am I, who didn't even go to high school, standing before these people, you know, reading off all the diplomas to all their children? How? Because, do you know that Einstein did not go to school? He taught himself. Did you know that? All right, and everybody looks up to him and they admire him. You know, we're not stupid. You're stupid if you want to be. But, you know, you educate yourself. You keep learning. Learn something today that you didn't know yesterday. Keep going. You know, you get into drugs, then yeah, you're gonna lose it. You know, you're gonna lose it. You're gonna lose touch with who God created you to be. You don't need to be doing drugs and selling them, okay? Even the recreational ones. Yeah, all right. See, you have the steeple, and that's so that you can always find the church. So we're slowly approaching it. Here we are. Oh, do I have so many memories with this church? Boy, oh boy. Not anymore. Excuse me. The place is packed, though, I'll tell you. I don't know what's happening, but there's a lot of cars. Anyway, with this church, I used to take my children here when they were really little. I liked it a lot when my kids were really young. So I stopped going because... All right, so we should not be using our phones in church, period. I mean, this is a sacred, holy place, okay? When you have the Eucharist, which we call, that's the communion, right? Body, blood, soul, and divinity is called the Eucharist in the Catholic Church. And when you have the body, blood, soul, and divinity, right? You go visit a king. Are you going to use your cell phone right there when he's there, right there? Are you going to do, hey, you know, don't forget to put the chicken in at 4 o'clock. You're not going to do that. You're going to be quiet. Why? Because you have to know your place. If you go see the Queen of England, you're not going to whip out your phone. You're not going to whip out a cup of coffee. You're not going to be yelling, saying, you know, to your friend, pat them on the back. You're not going to do any of that. And if you do, you're really not the brightest, you know, star in the sky. So it's just like this automatic reverence that comes over oneself when you're in front of God. So there's signs. So first of all, we know that, okay? It's just a knowing. Then they have signs in there, no cell phone use. Then you know what happens? During Mass, the priest invites everyone to take out their cell phones and to call people that we love. Okay, so that's nice, right? You say, oh, but what's wrong with that? You know, oh yeah, that's a nice thing. You know, you tell people that you love them. So everybody's whipping out their phones, and I am like, my children and I are looking at each other like in horror. We are so horrified. Like, are you serious? You're telling us to pick up our phones right now to call people. This is about God, okay? And it's true that the 10 Commandments summarize how we should be treating one another. You have to love God, and then you have to love everybody else. Like, that's just the bottom line. If you love God, then you must love everyone, no matter how horrible. Does it mean you're approving that they're okay? No. So I never came back here again for a Mass. You know, I guess I should have. I might have reported him. Usually I'm good like that. But I was like, are you kidding me? Like, this is a place of worshiping God, and we're sitting here on the phone. No, really bad. You know, and I don't want my kids to think that I approve of that. You know, you have to keep things traditionally, in my mind. You know, and if we keep on breaking the laws about it all, I mean, anything goes. Anything goes. And this world today, in my opinion, is crazy. Crazy. Oh, yeah. And I hope you don't mind me saying so, because maybe you agree with me, maybe you think it's wonderful. I don't know. Too many people are losing it. Oh, yes. Anyway, for example, want me to give you an example? All right. And I really don't mind if you think that this is okay, what I'm about to tell you, because then I think that you're crazy. And I don't mind saying so. Okay, so I'm watching the television one night, and there is this woman who is in love, okay, with, I think it was an amusement park ride or a crane, one of those. And she named him Bruce. Yes. And she married this thing. There was another woman who loved the Berlin Wall so much. She would go up to it and say, oh, how manly he was, you know, and she would hug him. There was a man who was in love with his car. And when I say in love with the car, I don't mean like, wow, what a beautiful car. I mean like, he loved this car. And then there was, oh yeah, how about this guy? And if you're watching this gentleman, I have prayed for you, but I think you have some serious issues. He was in love with a sound board. Yes, you know, the kind that my daughter uses to make music? He was in love with the soundboard. Now, today's world, the reason why I have a problem with today's world is because there are too many people that just go, oh, well, that's fine. As long as he's not hurting anybody. Well, he is. He's hurting himself. Does anybody care? Okay? As you know, they pat you on the back nowadays. It's like, oh, yeah, whatever you want to do. It's okay. You know, good for you. Good for you. Ay, ay, ay. He was in love with the soundboard. They kicked him out of his local church because they said that he was crazy, basically. And the problem is, years ago, we used to lock people up like this, and nowadays, it's normal. Okay? So, if you don't stop things in their tracks, I mean, I could say, hey, look at, you know, I'm in love with this tomato can. This tomato can is my husband. And who are you to tell me that I'm not? Because I am. And then everybody's around me going, yeah, 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 good for you. All right? I know this is, it feels like I'm being harsh, But it can't be. It just can't be. It can't be harsh. So this all reminds me of what the priest did, because there has to be some point that we stop being strange. You know, you let one cat out of the bag, then they all want to go. And then everything's running amok. You know, society's upside down and crazy. Yeah. Anyway, let's go. And I have maybe 15 minutes to go and get my daughter. How exciting for her. See, before I drive, I'm thinking, you know, does everybody have to agree the way that I think? No, that would be a really boring place. But I do believe that there has to be a place where the mind doesn't venture off. There has to be your basics. You know, there has to be your foundations, the way that things ought to be. You know, and once we start messing around with those, then anything goes. One day they'll be committed. Well, they do. They do. What am I saying? I was going to say one day they are going to commit murder and say that it's okay. They do, through abortion. That's it. There it is. You know? And I am not saying, if say you have had an abortion, I am not trying to come down on you at all. Okay? God will judge you. But what? And I actually feel bad for you, and I will pray for you. Listen, sound of holiness. I love that sound. There's always forgiveness. Believe me. There's always forgiveness. If you have had an abortion, there's always forgiveness. But if you don't feel sorry, ask God. Say, Lord, help me to be sorry. Okay? It's not okay. It's not okay. It's not okay. It's not okay. Okay, so it burns me. I hope you don't mind me talking while I'm driving. And remember, when we pass by the church, we make the sign of the cross, in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Ghost. Amen. So, we must... I remember playing letting my children, when they were little, there's little pathways up and down these flowers, and they used to run up and down them. Oh, how cute. I think that sometimes it's good, right? It's good to talk about things, you know, the hot topics like these, right? We always want to talk about on the surface type things, and then hey, let everybody do what they want to do. But I think personally, I know I benefit from when my friends, or if I'm listening to someone I don't even know, talk about morals. It has rescued me, you know? I need rescuing, and I'm sure you do too. We're all in this life together, right? I mean, honestly, look at these clothes. They're selling clothes. They're selling clothes that looks like, you know, they were on Streetwalkers a long time ago. Let me show you. Where are the clothes? Where? I once asked my father, I said, why do they make clothes like this? He says, because the perverts make them. Hey, you gotta call a cat, right? How do you know that's a cow? Okay. So, I would say now and then it's a good reminder to talk about morals, society, how it's being degraded, you know? It's not easy. You know, people, they want to get rejected, and I have a lot more to say too. But I won't do it today. I won't. Alright? We want to be the best that we can. I know I haven't always been. That's for sure. But like my stepmother says, we all grow up if we live long enough. You know? I think we all have to help each other. At least I think that way. Now I'm looking. Now they have shops where they sell paraphernalia to do drugs, or even sell the drug itself. Isn't that wonderful? Get society all doped up, and then you can really be controlled. You know, you won't know what's going on. Steeple, God's house, the Divine Mercy Hour. Eternal Father, I offer you the body and blood, soul and divinity of your dearly beloved Son, our Lord Jesus Christ, in atonement for our sins, and those of the whole world, for the sake of his sorrowful passion, have mercy on us and on the whole world. Don't forget to make the sign of the cross. Before I pick up my daughter, I'd like to say that a lot of it sounds hateful to people when you talk about abortion and those that have, got abortions, or those that are thinking the way of that man being in love with the soundboard, or when they hear people like me talking about it, they'll look at me like I'm the hater, when in fact, whenever you go out of God's perimeters, you are being hateful. Okay? And it's not, when somebody directs you back to God, it's not hate, it's love. It's the people that keep you hating God and being outside of his will that hate. Okay? And this is a very hot topic, but this is what I live for. This is who I am. And I will be the lioness of God. I absolutely will. Because, you know why? Because God loves us so much. He does. Oh, gosh. I'm feeling all these pains everywhere. I'm not supposed to be out right now. The things we do for love. Yeah, so this is the church. So we bless ourselves. That's the church I was going to tell you about earlier. That church has been cut off from the Catholic Church. They're called schismatics. Okay, when you're cut off from the church, like scissors, you can hear the words scissors and schismatics, kind of. And they're cut off because more road work. Because they do not recognize the chair of Peter if they don't agree with the current Pope. So when you do that, you're denying that anyone is in the chair of Peter, which is impossible. That just happens. Even if you have an evil Pope, they're the Pope, okay? Because you don't have to, the church doesn't ever have to worry, and I'll tell you why. Because there are certain times when the Pope speaks that it's etched in stone. Anything that he is saying cannot be changed. He can have his own opinions outside of those moments, and that doesn't, just because the Pope says something does not mean anything as far as what the church really is all about. So, but when he's in the chair of Peter in these specific times, it cannot go opposite, contradict the doctrines of the Catholic Church. So they do that. So we're not allowed to go there. Although they're priests, they have been become priests. The men have become priests, so their Eucharist is truly the Eucharist, and that's why we still bless ourselves. See what I mean? It's a little complicated, but I'm trying to help you. All right, so another topic is racism, right? I don't know about you or what your background was like, but I know when I grew up in the 70s, racism was still going really strong. I remember having thoughts like that, It took me even up until my adulthood to recognize, I remember looking, okay, this is not that long ago, all right, and I'm 47, looking at the television, for instance, and seeing somebody in another country crying over their loved one that was in the hospital. And I'm like, oh my God, and they're speaking a different language, they got the subtitles up, and I'm saying to myself, what do you mean? They're crying as though like if it were me crying for their loved one, like maybe their son was getting an operation and they're crying, and I'm like, they have feelings? You mean like they're like me? That's how warped it was growing up, and having that mindset around me, just in society. I remember making stupid jokes about different races. I do. And, but I have learned that every single one of us, you have to love every person. You have to look at them like they are precious by God, because they are. You see? So if you're stuck in that mindset, of looking down at people because they're different than you must ask God to help you see them the way that he sees them, because we're all the same, no matter what, no matter how low you think somebody might be. you know, lower than you. I saw this terrific commercial. My son brought it to me, actually, on the computer. It showed a white woman sitting next to a black man. And she was like so appalled. It was on an airplane. Oh, I'm not going to sit next to him. And she was like asking the stewardess, oh, I'm not sitting here. So she says, okay, let me go talk to the one in charge. So the stewardess comes back and she goes, yes, we have a place in first class. Well, the white woman smiled like, oh yes, get me out of here. I'm going to be placed in a place that I deserve. And then she said, the stewardess says, oh no, not for you, for him. And so he got up and went to the first class. I loved it. It was awesome. Yes. So, you know, I have struggled in the past, and sometimes, honest to goodness, sometimes I still do, just because of different laws that are going on or not going on. I get upset at things, I do. However, I have to constantly go to confession about it. I have to constantly strive to pull myself out of it and to remind myself that they are actually better than yourself. Okay, you have to look at every person like they are better than you.